So this is take number 3. I don't remember what happened on the first take, but the second take, I went way over on my time. I ended up talking for like 53 minutes, and then remembered that I can't edit videos at the moment. I can't stitch them together because my Adobe subscription is currently out of service, and I don't have enough memory on my computer to download another app. And so I'm going to have to try to complete this one in under 26 minutes. And I am talking about my relationship to my penis. How I feel about my penis, that sort of thing. And not having clarity on how I feel about my penis. Probably a better way to put it, because I don't really know how I feel about my penis. If that makes sense. I like the idea of being able to use my penis. I like the idea. There have been quite a few times where I've seen myself as this trans woman, and I think it would be really cool if I had the ability to use my penis. Because I think it could be enjoyable for myself and for other people, you know. There is a problem with that, though. One is that in the past, I've had difficulties like getting erections for people. Let me back up just a little bit and say that I'm still not sure that I am trans. I've been on hormones now for 10 months. I've been on hormones long enough to grow breasts. You know, these are grown from hormones. There's no silicone in there anywhere. I have not had any surgeries or anything like that. Only, HRT. And despite that, I still have doubts about whether I'm trans or not. There are still times when I prefer the idea, or kind of lean towards the idea that I'm just a man with a feminine side. And so I'm still in that kind of trying to figure that out. But there's also the question of, what does that even mean? It's like, well, if you're saying that you're not sure that you're trans, what do you mean by trans? You know, because there is kind of the question of like the hormones. I mean, it's like for me there is the question of, do I need the hormones? And part of that is because of my penis. Part of that for me is because of the hormones, it does get more difficult to get an erection, and I feel like, it could have a negative impact on my sex life. But on the other hand, I feel like it could also have a positive impact on my sex life. So that's kind of I'm a little bit like, I don't have clarity there. So 26 minutes, I'm going to try to get through this. So I'm not sure that I am trans, but what is the question really about? Like, if I said I'm not sure that I'm trans, what is it that I'm saying that I'm not really sure that I am? Does I mean that I'm not really sure that I'm a woman in a man's body? Am I saying that I'm not really sure that I want a vagina? That seems to be kind of where I'm going, is like the question of, am I trans or not, seems to be kind of that, like, is the woman's life the life for me? Like a straight woman, is that the life that I am meant for? Because if I am meant for that life, then what business do I have with a penis? And that is kind of one of the questions that I feel like is yet to be solidly answered. And one of the reasons why I feel like it has not been solidly answered is, in the past, that I had difficulties with my penis. I had a lot of anxieties around it. And some people might say, well, that's gender identity dysphoria. And I would say that to some degree that I think that is true. But there's also another side of that for me, which is the fear of abandonment. So I don't just have the gender identity dysphoria to contend with, I also have the borderline personality disorder to contend with. And borderline BPD is characterized by a fear of abandonment and also a disconnect, you might say, between your conscious mind and your emotional self. So people with BPD don't know what they want a lot of times. And they have essentially cut off their emotional wants and that kind of thing. Something people, I think, debate on the reason for that, or what it's caused by, or whether people are born that way. But what I read about it is that it's just a childhood survival mechanism. That if you grow up in an environment where your emotional needs are not being met or they are being invalidated, that you learn how to shut them off as a way to get along or to keep your place in the group. Because to constantly express those or to cause trouble means the threat of being abandoned, expelled, banished, whatever. So my thing right now is largely a search for my identity. And by identity, what I mean is my real self. What is it that I really, really want? So, there are times when I don't know what I want in relationships and that kind of thing. At the moment, I don't have any healthy relationships. I shouldn't even say at the moment. I've never had a healthy relationship. But I would like to have healthy relationships, and for me, that includes the question of sex. I like to think that I can have a healthy sexual relationship at some point in my life. I feel almost like in order for me to be redeemed, I need to have a healthy sexual relationship at some point in my life, because that is has been one of the sore points in my life, is that all my attempts at having just a healthy relationship have failed, and all my attempts at having a healthy sexual relationship have failed. And when I say failed, I don't mean like the person left me or whatever. Sometimes I left the relationship because I just felt like I'm not getting what I want. I feel like I'm just not satisfied. I feel like there was something missing, you know? So that is, you might say, the ultimate motive for me kind of questioning the penis thing, because, like, why else would I need a penis, right? It's not for peeing. It's not like, well, do I want a penis for peeing or not? Could I be happy peeing out of a vagina? Like, that has nothing to do with my question. My question has more to do with my relationships with people. Like, if I'm going to be married, or to have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or a boyfriend and a girlfriend, or several boyfriends and several girlfriends, or I don't know what. There's that question of, what does my penis have to do with any of this? Does it have anything to do with any of this? 26 minutes. Where are we at? Let's see. We're at 9:20. So yeah. Do I get to use my penis? If I have not said already, I like the idea of being able to use my penis. I like the idea of being a trans woman who has the ability to use her penis. When I picture myself as a man, I don't really have good feelings about my penis, which could be what's kind of gotten me into this kind of lack of clarity that I'm in now, because I am 46 years old and I've only been kind of doing the transgender stuff for about the last 6 years. For the assuming I became kind of sexual around the age of 12. I don't mean sexually active, but I mean just like sex became, something on my mind around the age of 12. That's when I started feeling aroused, started masturbating and things like that. Uh, so just say for 30 years, there has been kind of a sex life for me has been this kind of very obscured, cloudy kind of thing where like I started, even just like my sexual orientation has been cloudy. It's been, like I started off masturbating to Playboys when I was 12 or 13 years old. My dad had kept Playboys in his bathroom and beside his toilet. And then when he would leave, him and his wife would leave, I'd go into his bathroom and, you know, to the pictures of the lovely women with the large breasts. And I thought breasts were fantastic. Large breasts, nice butts, beautiful women, and that was the one of my most enjoyable things to do. I had sex with a girl for the first time when I was about 17, and when I did it, I said to myself, "I am home." The one of the issues with that though was that she didn't want to do it again, and I feel like that did something to my self confidence. Maybe we did fool around after that, but after that, I could not get an erection. Like when she would try to stroke me with her hand, and just like no, I can't. This is awkward, and the first time I was attracted to a man, I was 18, and with him, I knew there was an attraction, but I didn't see it as a clear sexual desire there. Like I didn't see like, oh, I want to suck his dick, or I want it inside me, or I want him to suck my dick, or whatever. There was nothing like that where I was like, I'm not entirely sure what I want. Uh, what I do know is that I want to be close to him. There was a time when he came to me and kind of kind of got into my face like he was gonna kiss me, and I was I was in college at this point, and we were staying in a dorm room, and not together in the same room, but in the same suite. And I just put my hand up and kind of walked around him, and this was in my room though when this happened, right in my doorway to my room, and I walked around and went to his room. Stayed there for a while. When he didn't come back to his room, I was like, "What's going on?" So I went back to my room. He was laying in my bed, basically waiting for me. And I thought I would really like to go down over there and lay with him and just stick my hand up his shirt. And that was pretty much the extent of what I was aware of what I wanted. And but at that time, I was not ready. I just couldn't do anything with him. I was too afraid of what my family would think. And so I left college and went on, and it was just kind of like, what's going on? Like, what's going on with my sexual orientation? Uh, I'd had more experiences around that time too, of like being with women but not being able to get an erection. A couple times I was with girls that I wasn't really interested in, who were kind of cute, but I just like they wanted to make out with me or have sex with me. I'm not entirely sure, but I was just like, yeah, we can make out for a little bit. But I remember making out with a girl in her bed and just feeling like I was not aroused at all. And I'm just like, what's going on? What is going on? My take on that, just looking back at that period of my life, my take is that a lot of that was just psychological. A lot of that was just that I was really desperate for a healthy relationship. I wanted something closer to love than to sex. And, you know, that's my take on that. So, uh, this being the third time I've made this video, I'm a little bit lost as to what I've said and what I have not said. Uh, so, anyways, well, I'll just go on with my life from there. So I went on from like that time in my life from college and being with these girls and not being able to get an erection to after I got out, struggling with this idea of my sexual orientation, thinking, am I gay? Am I straight? Why was I jacking off to Playboys, but when I'm with a girl I don't get an erection? I sometimes feel attracted to men, but I kind of feel like I don't see clearly what it is that I want to do with them. So this went on for a long time. It was not until I was in my almost 30 years old the first time I actually tried doing anything sexually with a guy. And this was also kind of after, I want to say, a few failed relationships with women. I think when I got out of the army, I got out of the army at 29 years old. Is that right? And I dated quite a few girls, and my average relationship was like a month long. And some of those girls I had sex with, some of those I did not have sex with. And even when I was having sex, had this feeling like I'm not, there's something I want, and I'm not getting it. And which is one of the reasons why I ended the relationships. I would be in these relationships and just feel like I'm not sure why I'm here. It's like there's a part of me that it feels like what I want. Like I said before, it's like there's this like I think love is what I want, but I'm going about it the wrong way. And then I actually fell in love. It was around the age of 32, I want to say, and with a woman, woman. I'm not sure how to put it, but I think she was in her 20s, and she was with a boyfriend, and despite the fact that she was with the boyfriend, she was willing to go on a date with me. And this was after several months of us talking. When I first saw her, I was kind of already smitten, but it was after she had emailed me some of the poems that she had written. She was a poet. And after reading the poems these two poems that she'd written, they were not for me, but just stuff she'd written before she met me. That was when I was head over heels. I read those two poems and I just lost my mind. Love took my brain and just threw it out the window. And after reading those poems, I think I called her up and said, I am crazy about you. And I want to say that she said something like, I'm crazy about you too, or I feel the exact same way. And so she agreed to go on a date with me. And like I said, despite the fact that she had a boyfriend, they were living together. They had been together, I think she was in her 20s. I think they had been together since high school. And I was super excited, but I was also terrified because I don't know if I've said it in this video, but when it came to first dates uh, with people, I could not get an erection. So like if I just went out to a bar and met a girl and then went home with her, I would not be able to get an erection for her at all. Same with thing with a man. If I went to a gay bar and picked up a man, I could go back to his house with him. I could give him a blowjob, no problem, no qualms about that. But if he tried to give me a blowjob, I'd be like, no, can't do it. I don't quite understand what that is. I don't know if that's just a kind of anxiety, kind of just gender dysphoria type anxiety, or if that is a fear of abandonment anxiety, because once I'm in established relationships, I don't have that problem. So there was a girl I dated for 4 years. I don't know if I've said it in this video or not. For the first 2 weeks, we did not have sex. We dated for 2 weeks before we had sex, and my theory is that once it was established that she was willing to be with me and not have sex, then that's when I suddenly felt like, okay, now I can have sex with you. And because after 2 weeks, we just started having sex like rabbits, and there was just like after that first 2 weeks, I don't remember ever having an issue or even discomfort with my genitals with having sex, that sort of thing. I mean, we would be like just driving down the road, pull over on the side of the road, and just have sex in the back seat of the car, and I don't remember ever feeling like I can't do this or she's gonna leave me or whatever. But yeah, so when it came to that inability to get an erection, like on a first date with a girl or with a guy, I've never actually dated the guy. All my experiences with guys have been one night experiences. But that inability, as far as I can tell, was largely a kind of fear of abandonment type thing. It was the fear that I am not going to be able to please this person. And I do think there's more to it than that. So when I go on a date with this girl that, as far as I am concerned, is the love of my life, I am terrified because the way I feel about her, I already want to go home with her. We'd agreed to go to a bar, but I'm already kind of like, I don't really want to go to the bar. I just want to go somewhere private, you know. I don't mean necessarily that I want to have sex, but I did feel like I want to be as close to you as I can possibly get. I'm ready to, you know. I don't want to be like in public right now. I want to be like just alone with you somewhere, just sort of thing. And I was afraid that is what she wanted. I was afraid that we would go out to this bar and we would start talking or whatever, and she would say, "Take me home. I want to go home with you." And I was afraid that that she would say that, and I would say all right, and then we'd go back to wherever, my place, or like probably not her place, but and I would not be able to get an erection, and it would be the end of my love life. You know, the woman who I saw as the love of my life, even though we'd never been together, that would be the end of it, and it scared the shit out of me. It scared me so bad that it ruined our first date. She was kind of like, yeah, I can see you have a lot on your plate, so, you know, we'll get together later, you know. And we did. We got together a few times after that, and that relationship kind of looked like it was going somewhere, but then at the moment does not exist. So I have a couple minutes left. But so yeah, I'll try to wrap this up in a couple minutes. Since then, that question has remained. That relationship was one of the things that made me think that I was trans. That led up to that was one of the things that led up to me thinking that realizing that I was trans, or starting to think that I was trans, because when I would a lot of times when I would fantasize about her, it was not me as a man having sex with her. A lot of times I did not think about having sex with her at all, which is one of the things that bothered me. Even on that first date, because like I was said, I was afraid that she would go home. She would want to go home with me, and I would not be able to get an erection. But the truth is I was not thinking that I wanted to have sex with her, and that was kind of where I was a little bit like, what's going on here? I'm in love with this woman, but I don't fantasize about having sex with her. And there were a few times when I kind of started to suspect that what I wanted was a lesbian relationship with her, which for me raises the question of, does my penis have anything to do with that? So I am going to stop right there because I'm going to run out of time. And hopefully I've made a point. I've kind of gotten something across. I am still thinking about that relationship. She's friends with me on Facebook, even though she's kind of stopped responding to my messages. But I still think about that, and I still think about just relationships with women. In that kind of like, it could be a lesbian relationship, but where one of us has a penis. It could be, or what's going on here? I kind of feel like I need some clarity somehow